الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. الحمد لله غافر الذنب وقابل التوب شديد العقاب ذي الطول لا إله إلا هو إليه المصير. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. لك الحمد يا من لم تتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل والله أكبر كبيرا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله الأحد الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. مالك الملك يؤتي الملك من يشاء وينزع الملك ممن يشاء يعز من يشاء ويذل من يشاء بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. سبح له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. تركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. شرح الله له صدره ووضع عنه وزره وأعلمه أن مع العسر يسرا وأبره أن إذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي المقصرة بتقوى الله وأحذركم ونفسي من عصيانه ومخالفة أمره لزوما لقوله الحق تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وكذلك في قول الحق تبارك وتعالى: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. My dear brothers and sisters, my dearest children, we are, walillahi alhamd, in a blessed time of the year where the population of on earth is commemorating the end of life of Isa alayhi salam on earth. And this commemoration for us as Muslim is a way to honor the life of Isa alayhi salam. Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran explained to us the mission statement for Isa as a servant of Allah. إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا. Allah Azza wa Jal defined to us the role of Isa alayhi salam as being the servant of Allah Azza wa Jal. And وجعلني مباركا, He made me Mubarak wherever I go, in whatever location I am in. I am a source of khair, source of barakah, and ordained on me to establish the salah and to do the zakah. This would be what would inspire us as Muslimin. You are, as Muslim, a person of morals and principles, and that's why Allah in the Quran said to us: وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Let there be among you a group of people who would call for the good and forbid the evil, and those are indeed the muflihun, the successors. No one can deny that we are living in a very difficult time as Canadians, and more specifically as Muslim Canadians, and as part of the population living on this planet that we call the Earth. No one can deny the fact that the last elections south of the borders have created not only chaos in the neighboring country, but it created chaos to us as neighbors with the longest borders with them, and have created also shock to the whole world. The economy of the world right now on the verge of collapsing. We're about to having a severe recession that could affect and impact everyone living on this planet. And at the same time, we know that we are, as Canadians, are going to be having our own elections. And we know this is the season of election. And we know that this election per se is very critical. It's going to define whether we will be having our own identity and entity as Canadians who have their own principle and moral values, who demonstrate and endorse the role of Canada as a peace broker as it has been historically, or whether we will be our Canadian dreams will be hijacked by certain party that will be dragging us to the same path that the people south of the borders are going through. This is indeed a very important issue that as Canadians we need to be aware of. It's not a choice for us anymore to be passive. It's not a choice for us anymore to debate whether we should be involving in election or vote or not to vote. That's out of the question. Because right now, it's okay, brother. You know, he does not know what he's doing, so that's okay. I know he's distracting people. May Allah inshallah give him the barakah. Allahumma ameen. We should be praying to him that Allah will give him the peace and tranquility and give rahmah to his family, inshallah. Allahumma ameen ya Rabb. We need to not be passive. We need to take a proactive role. And walillahi alhamd, we do have a lot of organizations in our community who have taken upon themselves the responsibility of doing the background work that is needed for us to understand what's going on. We have organizations like the National Council of Canadian Muslims, NCCM, or we have Justice for All, or Canadian Vote, Canadian Muslim Vote. Those are organizations, among other organizations, have been working tirelessly to prepare for us materials that will help us to understand how can we exercise our civil right of voting. And as I was coming to the khutbah, to the jumah, with the first jumah khutbah, a brother was standing by the door to hand a pamphlet like this. I want each one of you, as you're making your way outside, to pick up one of those. These pamphlets are being handed by concerned people. Some of them are not Muslims, and the majority of them are not even Palestinians. And they're advocating to consider what is happening in Palestine in the upcoming election. They're saying that the Palestinian vote Palestine, as on their social media, their name is on social media, is a platform to help you understand where we as Canadians stand from what's happening globally. And I don't think it's a choice for us anymore to not be involved and active, not to do something. Because every morning we wake up on the tragic news of so many shuhada rising to Allah Azza wa Jal. And I cannot forget the image that was portrayed early today for one of the mothers who was rushing to go and have a final look at her children who has risen as shuhada to Allah Azza wa Jal. Her reaction astonished me. Her reaction was not what would be an average mother be doing by weeping and crying and slapping her face and being outraged. Rather, her reaction, as it was captured on the videos of the TV camera, was to do a zaghruta. A zaghruta is a spontaneous reaction normally mothers will be doing on a special occasion for their own children when they get married. The mother of the bride or the mother of the groom, out of joy and happiness, will be doing the zaghruta to show her excitement for the happy occasion of their own child being married and establishing a family. This woman was demonstrating not only to the Muslim Ummah but to the whole world how we should be not giving up. She said, and I'm quoting her own words, this is a small price for standing for justice. This is indeed a very small price that she is paying to stay on the path of haqq and truth. And we as Muslim Canadians who have in the past 15 months or 16 months plus have demonstrated to the whole world what it means to be a person of integrity. Our teens, our young people who are studies right now are showing they are they're unlikely to be involved into election, are giving up because they have lost hope in our political system. And I want to send a strong message to them and say it's quite the opposite. You should be more determined and more focused and more energetic than ever from before, so that your voting, so your involvement in the upcoming election will be making a change, not only for what's happening in Palestine, but for what is happening to us locally here in Canada. Islamophobia is on the rise. No one can deny the fact that we're still living in fear and the fear continues to grow. No one can deny that the anti-Palestinian sentiment is growing day after day. No one can deny that there are evil lobby groups who are spending billions of dollars and trying to persuade our politicians and hijack our Canadian dream. That only can be combated by young people like yourselves, by more determined and powerful people with haqq in their mind and their hearts, and say, I will not give up, because the mother of the children who went murdered this morning did not give up, and she does not have the luxury to give up nor to stay passive. She did not, despite of all the fact that for the past a few weeks after the stop of the war, the treaty was broken by one side, and the gates of hell, quote unquote, as the one who have mentioned that or used that terminology, has been opened on the people of Gaza. There are rockets being shelled from the air, rockets being shelled from the sea, from the land, and it is killing civilians. And quote me right, it is killing children, it's killing elders, it's killing women. This is what the war machine of the Israeli apartheid regime is doing to the Palestinians in Palestine. And this war machine is using weapons from the taxpayers' money south the borders of people who are struggling to make their ends meet at the end of the day. Those who are struggling with healthcare needs, those who are struggling to find an accommodation and provide food for their own children. Who is hijacking the American dreams? Who's hijacking the Canadian dreams? There are lobby groups who are working behind the scene to benefit only the 1% and satisfy their own agenda, evil political agenda. We cannot afford to stop being advocate. We've demonstrated to the whole world that we're able to do it. The number of demonstrations that have hit the Canadian cities, streets, is a clear demonstration to how powerful, how determined, how much you can do to change and persuade the public opinion. And we do not have an evil agenda. Those who are handing the pamphlets are outside are not Palestinians. They're not even Muslims, but they have believed in the principle and moral values as a human beings, and they believe in what they're doing. That's why they decided on a day like this to come out and to hand the pamphlets to you, to send a strong message to you that you shall not give up and you shall be involved. You shall be involved because it's a responsibility on your shoulder. It's a responsibility on you to exercise your civil right and vote, and to give your vote to those who deserve to represent you in the Capitol Hill. We need to know which party is going to be bringing Canada back again on the central stage of being a peace broker. We need to know who will be representing us from every party in the Capitol Hill. We need to vote to the right party, but at the same time we need to vote strategically so that our vote will not be wasting and empowering someone else with hidden agenda. And that answer to this puzzle will be only possible if you were to go to organizations like these and spend a few minutes to read in your own riding who would be the best person to vote for, regardless of the party, regardless of what party they come from. But you will have someone who have principle and moral values, who will be willing to stand up for the principle and values we believe in as Muslim Canadians. And that person deserves to get your vote. So do not anymore take a passive role. Be involved, be engaged, because we cannot afford it locally, nor the people around the globe can afford it. Whether it's the people in Palestine, whether it is the people of Sudan with the civil war that is happening in Sudan right now, that a large number of people being killed for no reason, whether it's the Muslims of Myanmar or the Muslims of Kashmir or the disparate Muslims around the globe. We need to know who's going to be stopping the aid of UNRWA that is supporting the refugees of the Palestinians living in their own land. Who is going to be calling it clearly and bluntly that this is a genocidal war. And we need to have someone to speak clearly that what has been happening for the past week in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is breaking the international laws. There are almost 7,000 settlers, including some representatives from the Israeli government, who have been invading the integrity of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. This is happening daily. It happened today. Did any of the Muslim leadership in the world do anything about it? They're not doing anything about it. The Muslim Ummah, forgive me to say that, is in deep coma, is in deep sleep. Nothing intrigues them to wake up. We do have the ability to speak, to demonstrate, to express our opinion, and we need not to give a chance for any person, any political party to hijack and strip us from that right. We don't want someone to come and say that those who are demonstrating or speaking will be kicked out from Canada. Who are you to violate the principles and moral values of our country as Canadians? We need to ensure that this is not going to happen. We need not to be following the footsteps of what happened in south the border. We need to ensure that we have our own entity and identity as people living in this beautiful country. And we need to ensure that our Canada is going back to its central stage as being peace broker country. That only will be done if we were to not give up, if we were to be more involved, if we were to be more determined. Many of the young people, alhamdulillah, are intelligent people who have the ability to read and investigate and understand the system. Understand the system. It's not a surprise if I say that there are advocacy groups for every industry in this country. In democratic societies and democratic countries, we know that advocacy groups play a big role in persuading the politicians and the political system. Should we allow these groups to hijack our dreams, or should we be advocate for the haqq? وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. But that only would be possible if we were to follow the ayah that came before this, in which Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تهتدون. When we call for engagement in the civic liberty and the civic duties, we're not calling for nationalism, because Muslims are not nationalists. We are rooted in the haqq, as Allah said to us in the Quran. قل إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وإخوانكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله فتربصوا. Your love, your loyalty would be to Allah Azza wa Jal. Your love and your loyalty, your endorsement, your standing should be for the haqq, for the truth. We're not calling for nationalistic or nationalism. We're calling for haqq and principles and moral values. And that's what we believe in as Canadians and as Canadian Muslims. In conclusion of my khutbah today, I want every one of us in the way out to pick up one of those pamphlets, scan them, read them, interact with them, go to the Justice for All website and read the report card that they have worked very hard to prepare for us so that we know who is who. Go into the Canadian Muslim vote and look into who deserves in your own riding to be the person who you cast your vote for. And at the top of all that, as you leave from here, go immediately and vote in advance so that the politicians would know that we are not only numbers living in this country, but we are advocates of haqq and principles and moral values. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فوز المستغفرين. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إن عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمائك نواصينا يا رب بيدك ماض يا رب فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك اللهم بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا يا الله. اللهم اجعله جلاء لهمومنا وأحزاننا يا رب العالمين. اللهم إن بك نستغيث فأغثنا. اللهم إن بك نستجير فأجرنا. اللهم يا رب جبريل وميكائيل وإسرافيل فاطر السماوات والأرض عالم الغيب والشهادة أنت تحكم بين عبادك فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون اهدي قلوبنا إلى ما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك فإنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. اللهم أغث أهلنا في فلسطين. اللهم احقن دماء أهلنا في السودان. اللهم ارحمهم في كشمير ومنمار. اللهم ارحم المستضعفين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. اللهم فرج همنا وغمنا وكربنا. اللهم استخدمنا ولا تستبدل بنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك بجلالك بأن تمن علينا بالصلاة في المسجد الأقصى آمنين مطمئنين فإنك على كل شيء قدير. Oh Allah, we ask you by your mercy in this blessed day, in this blessed hour, in this blessed location. Ya Allah, we ask you to restore justice and peace on earth, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you to empower us to be from those who are standing for haqq and justice, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, use us and do not abandon us, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you to help us to be from those who will be able to pray in peace and tranquility in al-Masjid al-Aqsa. إنك على كل شيء قدير. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقم الصلاة.